Hello and welcome to another Kemetic Byte. I'm your host, Sharon. I have a lot of news and updates to give to you this episode, so let's get started. First of all, today I just ordered proof copies of a revised edition of Following the Sun. And that means basically I wait for the print copies to come in, make sure there's no crazy errors in them, approve it, and you guys will be able to order a revised edition. What's in that revised edition? Well, I've expanded a couple of sections, including the section on ancient Nubia, to reflect new books and scholarship that have come out since the first edition of Following the Sun, and hopefully give a much more even-handed explanation of how Nubia related to ancient Egypt. Same thing with the section on the Exodus. I've gotten a couple of books since then on ancient Israel that are very useful for putting the whole Exodus story in perspective. Also added a lot of things into the second half, which deals with rituals and modern practice. I've got basically a Tamarin Wiccan Wheel of the Year in that section now. And I realize a lot of people will say, well, hey, wait a minute, the Egyptian holidays didn't work like the European Sabbats. Yes, I know that. But read the book and I'll explain the rationale behind this. Also, I am working on ebook versions of everything, which means you'll be able to download something to your Kindle, Nook, or other device, especially if you're a viewer living overseas. A lot of people have mentioned to me, gee, I'd love to buy your book, but the shipping would be the same as the cost of the book. I tried in 2013 to get something listed, and it didn't work. So I've had to go back to the drawing board, learn a little bit about coding and formatting and so forth, because when you make an ebook, it's basically almost like you're programming a website and then uploading that. So I'm learning. I did succeed in getting an ebook version of the Ancient Egyptian Declarations of Innocence. It's a nice short book, and so it was very easy to say, okay, let's see if this works. Bam, it did. So as of today, you can get an ebook version of this. The others will be coming soon. So keep an eye out for that. Also, I've got some upcoming videos that I'm working on. There's one that I've got all the footage for on goddesses, and I just need to do the voiceover for it. You can kind of see behind me here the microphone, and this is my green screen, but it also works as a sound dampening curtain, and we basically take the room and dampen the sound. My my voice director friend explained a lot to me about that. I know a few voice actors too, but that's another story entirely. I'm going to be doing videos to answer a few questions, doing one on prayer beads. Also, somebody had asked me about Set and how do I interact with him. I'm working on a video to answer that question because there's kind of a story as to how I first started to understand Set and interact with him, and I've used him as a character in a story that I've been working on. And so the video that I have, we've been doing music and voiceover and stuff for this. I'll post it as soon as it's done, so stay tuned, especially all you Set fans. And some other questions that I'm hopefully going to be able to answer, some very good ones. Keep them coming. Lastly, I set up a GoFundMe page. It is called Pagans Helping Pagans in Need. As you look in the description, it will explain. First thing we're going to do is incorporate a Kemetic Reformed church. We're not Orthodox, we're not Reconstructionists, we're not, well, I won't get into that, but we are a new tradition, and there's already a group online. Give more information on that hopefully very soon, but right now this binder is the beginnings of our articles of incorporation and things like that, and yeah, it's green because my printer ran out of ink as I was printing the cover, and they don't make cartridges for that printer anymore, so I'm back to the drawing board on that, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to look good as long as the stuff inside is how it needs to be. Another intended purpose of this fund is to be able to, once we've established a community, be able to help people in that community, because at the time that I set it up, there was one friend of mine that, as part of our online Kemetic group, that was having trouble, getting moved into a new apartment. One of the purposes of having a church is so that, the members not only have a place that they can come together and worship, but also that they can be able to help each other out. And so that's why this is called Pagans Helping Pagans in Need. And to kind of further explain this, I'll answer a question that people have asked, here in the comments section on YouTube and also in our Facebook group. I do substitute teaching I'm doing it right now. I first started doing it in the year 2000, and one of my first stints was actually a fairly extended one. I was filling in for an art teacher that had, left for whatever reason. And since I had this group of kids and, had to come up with some sort of a lesson plan or a, project for them to work on, I said, well, let's do a unit on ancient Egypt. So I brought a couple of my books that are meant for kids, and I taught them how to write their names in hieroglyphics and, did some things like that. A couple of kids were so inspired they did a social studies project on it. They did one on King Tut, and it was really cool. But then the school said, oh, well, we found a permanent replacement. We don't need you anymore. Okay, that's cool. I said, gee, this was a lot of fun. Maybe I should look into getting certified to teach. It would be a great, career while I'm trying to do other things. And so I did. Now, when you get certified, it varies depending on what state you're in, but, you take your classes that you need, then you do an internship and practicum. And you have to apply to the schools that you go to. So I applied to the ones I had substitute taught at. And the application was rejected. I got my instructor behind a closed door, and she said, well, it was rejected on accusations of posing nude and witchcraft. What? Yeah. And so I went to a lawyer and said, do I have a case? Because shouldn't this be discrimination? He said, yeah, let me look into that. And he said, it being a public school board, they should be accountable under, certain non-discriminatory rules about this sort of thing. And I got a letter back from him that said, well, yeah, we could do this. I got a text. Anyway. Yeah, no, my text soundbite is Cobra Commander, by the way. Anyway, I got a letter from the attorney saying, yeah, we could pursue this, but I'm going to need some money. So, let me get this straight. I can get justice if I have money. This was in a small town. I didn't have any other options. Of course, there are groups out there like the Lady Liberty League, and there was one at one time called Waddle, which Wiccan Anti-Defamation League or something like that. They're not in existence anymore, but the Lady Liberty League is. I didn't know about any of those things at the time. And because I was actually not a practicing pagan at that time either, I was in between things, and somebody just said, oh, witchcraft. I didn't have any recourse, and so I was never able to pursue redress for, what happened. Funny thing, that particular school board later was sued by the Department of Justice for discriminatory practices, segregation in their schools, things like that, and were found liable. So it's no wonder, and it just goes to show, if a group is going to discriminate for one thing, they're going to discriminate for other things. So it's really useless for us to say, oh, well, to divide ourselves along ethnic and racial lines against, along lines of sexual orientation or, religion, any of that. If they're going to shut out one group, they're going to shut out another. So if we don't stand up for ourselves, who will? So that's one of the things that I'm thinking about, and that's why we're working on incorporating and, getting ourselves to a point where we can advocate for one another, and that's what the GoFundMe page is all about. So, when you get a chance, check it out. Even if all you can give it is $1, that's cool. And if not, then just share it with a friend and get some traffic to it. So, all of those are good things. So stay tuned. There's lots more good things coming. And thank you, as always, for watching this channel. And I look forward to seeing you again soon. So for Kemetic Bytes and the Kemetic Independent channel, this is Sharon wishing you Seneb Tea.